What's happening there, YouTube? Genji here, and welcome back once again to the factory line here in StarRupture. Today's episode should be a good one because in the last episode we finally unlocked access to all of the new areas where most of the new content in Update 1 lives. However, before we can go start checking all of that out, we did also get a hotfix today that changed, most importantly, the structural stability rules with pillars. We can now stack things much higher, and we have a larger area of pillar support around each individual pillar. So before we hop into the new stuff, we're going to go and look at how much we can get away with stacking with the new pillar system. So let's go check it out. But before we look at the new pillar support system, I put together an example here that showcases what the previous system looked like so that we can compare the two. So at 1 pillar of height, we had support for 4 adjacent tiles here on the left. At 2 pillars of height, we had support for 3 adjacent tiles. At 3 pillars of height, we had support for 2 adjacent tiles of support. At 4 pillars high, we had support for 1 adjacent tile. At 5 pillars, we only had support for the tile that would cap off the pillar and no adjacent tiles of support. And then at 6 pillars, we had no platform support, even for a capping platform, and we can only support tiles that were adjacent to the platform itself rather than on top of it. So, compared to this old system, we now have this new system here that adds even more pillars of support, so we can now go all the way up to 10 pillars in height, which is, I think, higher than you can actually fly with a drone. Let me get over here. Yeah, we can only get up to about the top of the 9th pillar here. So it's above our ability to even access it from the ground. So let's take a look at what we have available at each height here. So at 1 pillar, we have support for 9 adjacent platforms. At 2 pillars, we have support for 7. At 3 pillars, we have support for 6. At 4, we have support for 5. At 5, we have support for 4. At 6, we have support for 3. At 7, we have support for 2. At 8, we have support for 1. At 9, we only have support for a capping platform. And then at 10, again, we cannot put anything on top. We can only support things on the side. So there you go. We now have the ability to almost double our ability to support buildings. So we should be able to support some ridiculously tall factories. And more importantly, this will allow us to build just about anywhere, even with extreme elevation differences. So even with a factory that has 3 pillars as the basis or the floor level of the factory, there's still enough support left for us to double and maybe even triple stack some factory buildings. So this is going to be huge for building larger factories in areas that were not really feasible to build factories on previously. And I can already hear you thinking, but Genji, how many of each building can we stack now with these new pillar support rules? And so I put together an answer for you here. We can have up to 5 smelters, 5 fabricator V1s, 4 fabricator V2s, 4 furnace V1s, 3 furnace V2s. For advanced manufacturing, we can have up to 5 mega presses, 3 compounders, 5 assemblers, 4 constructorizers or 4 facturers. For thermal management, we can now do up to 12 base core amplifier V1s, and for power, we can do up to 6 solar generator V1s, 4 solar generator V2s, or 4 wind turbines. Now actually constructing these towers hasn't really changed in this hotfix, but I'll go over building an example tower, and the methodology can be reapplied to basically any other type of manufacturing building. But we'll start here by placing down a smelter, and we're going to put a supported platform on every adjacent tile at the height of the base platform of your manufacturing building. So just like this. And then we're going to put, in this case, 6 pillars on top of every one of these platforms. There we go. There's 6 platforms on each adjacent tile, and the reason we're stopping at 6, even though we can go all the way to 10, is due to the amount of adjacent tile support we have at this height. So basically, if we were to put a platform on every one of these pillars, we can check and see that each one of these pillars is giving us 2 adjacent tiles of support. And so with those 2 adjacent tiles, we need to make sure that we can cover the footprint of the building that we're trying to support at this height. So if we do 1, 2, we can also do 1, 2, and 1, 2, and so on and so forth, so that every one of these pillars is able to create a supported platform the size of our manufacturing building. If we were to go up another pillar, we would only have 1 adjacent tile of support, and so this center strip of tiles of platforms would not be supported, so we would not be able to put a smelter at this height. Once we have this done, we're We're going to then check how many vertical tiles of displacement we need to put the next, in this case, smelter, but it'll be the same for any type of building that you're trying to stack here. So for smelters, our offset is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we know that we're going to need to place a smelter every 9 vertical units of offset going up this stack of pillars here. So to do that, we're going to take a supported platform. We're going to go back to the floor level of our manufacturer here, and we're going to go up 1, 2, 3 tiles, and we're going to place this support here. And the reason that we're doing 3 tiles is, again, because every pillar support is 6 units of height. So to make 9 units of offset, we need to combine a 6-unit pillar with a 3-unit supported platform in order to produce a total of 9 units of offset. We'll then place a platform on top of this. And now if we were to copy our smelter, raise it by 9 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, we can now place this smelter here. Now from this point, we know we have 9 plus 9 is 18 units of offset, and 18 is directly divisible by 6. So we only need 3 pillars with no other offset with our base platform. So we're going to put a supported platform here at the bottom, at the level of our bottom deck. We're going to place 3 pillar supports, 1, 2, 3. That's 18 units of offset. We're going to place a platform here. Now at this height, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of offset, so we're not going to be able to fill in this whole platform here. So if I were to try to stretch a platform across the entire footprint here, we don't quite have enough support on this one tile. But what we can do is just pre-build this platform, and we can use these pillars along the side as the support that they're eventually going to provide for our smelter. So if we do something like this, we can then come this way, and you'll notice that every time I lock in one of these platforms, we get this little wedge shape here into the pillars on the side, which show that these pillars are now supplying support for these platforms, which is extending the ability to support these tiles on top of what this auxiliary platform is supplying. So we should be able to now, with the help of these side platform or side pillars, fill in this entire footprint like so. You don't really need to fill in the center, but we'll do it just to make sure. And once we can complete a platform here, we can then copy our smelter, bring it in, and place it. So now we have 9, 18, 27 units of offset that we're going to need to produce. 27's closest multiple of 6 is 24. 27 minus 24 is 3, so we're going to go back down here. We're going to put a platform with an offset of 3. Delete all of these. Place another supported platform, offset it by 1, 2, 3. Place our pillars, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 24 plus 3 is 27. We can now build our platform, build our support platform, across here. Each one of these pillars on the side is now adding additional support. Like so. We'll copy our smelter, bring it up. Now we have another smelter, and because we've already placed our platforms on the top here, and this is the last stop for our smelters, we can just place our last smelter directly on top here. We'll delete this top platform, delete this bottom pillar support or supported platform, and there you go. Now we have a stack of 5 smelters. Now this will work for any building. You can refer to my previous demonstrations to see just how many of each building you're going to need to stack. But again, the key is just to place your pillar supports along the side, figure out how many units of offset you need to bring the next building up, and then place your auxiliary platforms until you meet that requirement, place your building, and then rinse and repeat. So let's move on to another example here that's slightly different for the manufacturing buildings. We're going to do power. And the reason that power is slightly different, we're going to need to find a place that's not obstructed to actually place this. Here we go. The reason that power is slightly different is because solar panels, and to a lesser extent, wind turbines, have a different requirement of offset units depending on whether you're building from the bottom up or from the top down. So to give you an example, I'm going to place 2 solar panels side by side here. I'm going to place a supported platform. I'm going to place a couple of pillars. And I'm going to place another set of platforms here. Now, if we're going from the bottom up, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 units of offset. So you see where it turns from red to orange. That means we need 14 units of offset to place another solar panel on top of our existing solar panel. However, if we build from the top down, I'll delete this solar panel, copy this, we're going to place this solar panel here, and now if we go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we can now place another solar panel below this one at an offset of only 8. Now this is probably a bug and it may be fixed at some point in the future, but we can exploit it for now. So in this, if we're building from the top down, we can actually place a larger number or a denser array of solar panels than we would be able to if we were building from the bottom up. So it's an 8 height difference versus a 14 height difference, depending on whether you're going from the top down or from the bottom up. So to put this all together for solar panels, I'm going to place a solar panel down. We're going to take our supported platforms, make our footprint here along the side. I'm going to delete this because we're going to need to, again, build from the top down. And we're going to build up our pillar supports to a height of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Now in the center here, where we had the solar panel, I'm going to take another set of supported platforms. We're going to bring it down 1 unit. And the reason that we're doing this is because at the very tippy top of these pillars here, we can place... Hello? There we go. We can place a platform, but we have no adjacent support for tiles here, so we can't actually fill in this footprint in the center here. However, at 1 unit of height below this platform, so attached to the side of this pillar, we do actually have 1 unit of support here. So I'm going to bring up just an example. I'll bring up a pillar support here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So now we're 1 unit below the top of our side pillars. If I were to place this down here, let's hide this so that we can see our wedge here. So we're wedged into this side of this platform here. Now if I were to delete this pillar, we can see that this pillar can support this platform at this height. So we have 1 adjacent tile of support on this pillar up until we reach the top. So we'll delete this. I'm going to replace this pillar. We're going to fill in this whole footprint down here all the way up to 8 pillars of height. There we go. Now if I put a platform on each one of these, we now have our footprint, our 2x2 footprint for a solar panel at this height. If I put a solar generator down, we're supporting a solar generator at a height of 8 pillars, and I can now delete these pillars below. And this generator is now supported by these platform, or these pillars at this height. So we're going to delete all of these all the way down to the base. So now the challenge is, we know what our maximum height is. We now need to construct these down 8 units per interval. So we know we have 8 pillars here. Each pillar is 6 units of height, so 8 times 6 is 48. So we know that this platform is at a height of 47 because we're actually 1 unit below the actual maximum height of these pillars. So we need to go 8 units down from 47. So our next solar panel needs to be built at a height of 39 units. So we're going to go all the way down. We know that the closest number to 39 that's divisible by 6 is 36. 39 minus 36 is 3. So we're going to have to bring our first supported platform up by 3 units. Let's go in the front here. So 1, 2, 3. We'll place this. 36 is 6 pillars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're then going to build our first platform. We'll use the side pillars to fill in our adjacent platforms here. And now we can copy the solar panel, place it here. No, it was auto-saving. There we go. Now we have a second solar panel, 8 units below our first one. So we'll continue this pattern. So we're at 39 units of height here. 39 minus 8 is 31. The closest number to 30 or below 31 that's divisible by 6 is 30. So 31 minus 30 is 1. So we'll place our offset at 1. Then we'll place 5 pillars, right? 6 times 5 is 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Place our platform. Fill in our footprint. copy our solar panel. There's 3. Now, 31 minus 8 is 23. The closest number to 23 divisible by 6 is 18. 18 plus 5 is 23, so our offset here will be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which we can't do here, but we can do a -1. Plus 6 is 5. And then we'll do 1, 2, 3. 6 times 3 is 18. So this should be the height of our next platform here. Fill this in. Place our solar panel. Boom. 23 minus 8 is 15. The closest interval of 6 to 15 is 12. So we'll go back to the bottom here. 15 minus 12 is 3. So our offset is 1, 2, 3. Then 12 is 15. Place our platform. 1, 2, 3, 4. Copy our solar panel. There's our solar panel at a height of 15. And after this, 15 minus 8 is 7, which is smaller than our offset requires. So the only thing that we can do from here is place one last solar panel here at the bottom. And there we go. We now have a stack of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 solar panels. So with that covered, we're ready to begin making some actual progress in today's episode. So let's claim our reward from Selenium Corporation from last episode, which is just some quartz ore. And let's take a look at what we're going to be building towards today. Now, obviously, we're going to go check out the new zones, which we've been given access to after completing the Forgotten Engine. But we're also going to want to pick some manufacturing targets here. So I think I'd like to start building towards maybe the roundabout connector and the teleporter next, which is going to require us to get through a hardening agent, which is going to be a pretty important milestone in our progress with the tech tree. But before we can get to hardening agent, we're also going to have to set up a proper chemical and proper sulfur base so that we can get that portion of our manufacturing online. So we'll put that as our long-term goal today after we get into goethite and powerium manufacturing. So we'll put a pin in that for now, and we're going to head out into some of the new areas, the previously irradiated areas that have been exposed to us. So we are going to head basically south in the map here into a region right down in this kind of crescent here that was previously covered in radiation. And here we are. New canyons await us in areas that were previously inaccessible due to radiation. We have some new perfect resource nodes that we'll need to tap. We're going to have some new materials available to us. Again, goethite and powerium. The troubles will be the same. We do have some new creatures in here as well, which I covered in my Update 1 preview video, but I'm sure we'll encounter them soon enough. So let's get down here and find some goethite nodes. Oh, and here's some of the new critters now. I believe these guys are called skylisks. They're basically eels on balloons, and when you approach them, they'll begin to blink and then they'll dive underground and disappear forever. But if you shoot them from a distance, they'll drop some goodies potentially.
Changing mags.
There we go, basic building materials. Now they seem to have a wide range of items that they can drop on their loot table. Sometimes it's basic building materials, sometimes it's medium level food items. There's some interesting stuff you can get in there, so whenever you see them, it's always a good idea to farm them if you can. But right across the hill here, we have some goethite nodes, which look like they've been plasma blasted by the sun, which is pretty similar to what this actually looks like in real life, the real life mineral. Now, we don't yet have access to the laser drill, which I believe is the next unlock for Selenium Corporation. So we're gonna have to get some, I want to say it was Turbine manufacturing online to get access to those laser drills, but you can hand mine these with the mining gun if you're so inclined. And I believe there are a couple of corporations right now that will accept raw goethite ore as their next turn-in item. But that's going to be a lot of hand mining these, so I'm not going to do that, but we will scoop up a handful of these just to take a look. So this is goethite ore, a crafting material. This will get combined with a few different things, for example, titanium to make titanoferrite ingots, It'll be combined with wolfram to make wolfram steel bars, I believe. So this will get injected into some earlier manufacturing chains to make V2 recipes, as well as some new manufacturing recipes going forward. So we'll put a pin in this. We'll remember where this was on the map, which is slightly southwest of the starting location, the orbital lander. So we'll come back here when we have access to laser drills, but let's go put our eyes on some powerium as well. Okay, here we have a powerium deposit. They are very noticeable even without looking at the map because these spires can be seen from quite a distance away, but once you get close you see all these anomalous gravity effects and the clear oil slicks on top of the fluid. I hesitate to say water because I'm not quite sure what this is. It's likely just liquid powerium, but as we approach this we start to take heat damage, so we're going to stay out of this powerium area, and everything is going to have to be done by drone. So if we go into drone mode, we can see that there are powerium nodes here in the center. And in order to get the powerium out of here, we'll have to put our powerium extractors onto these nodes and then use these white rocks to hopscotch our rails out of here into whatever kind of manufacturing you want to do with them on the outside here. But again, we don't have access to powerium extractors or oil extractors yet, so we'll have to come back to this. So we'll make a note of where this is on the map. This is to the southeast of where we came into this area. So here's our goethite extraction site up here. If we go basically east, a little bit south, we reach this deposit here. But again, it's pretty easy to spot just from looking around. You'll see these spires on the horizon. So we'll put a pin in this as well. We'll come back to this. And I think we're going to start with getting our sulfur pipeline online to get access to hardening agent. So I have a slight change in plan for today. If we take a look at the recipe list for furnace V2s and we take a look at chemicals, chemicals are going to require us to have access to goethite ingots. Goethite ingots, of course, are going to require us to have access to laser drills. Laser drills are going to require us to have access to turbines, and turbines are going to require us to have access to impellers. So if I plop down a mega press here, impellers are going to cost us titanium rods, which we already have manufacturing set up for, heat-resistant sheets, which we also have manufacturing set up for, wolfram plates, which we also have manufacturing set up for, and stabilizers, which we do not. So we'll need to set up a production chain for stabilizers, and then for turbine production, we'll need impellers, which we just discussed, stators, rotors, and sulfuric acid. So we will also need to set up our sulfuric acid chain, which in turn requires access to chemicals, so we've created one gigantic loop here. However, we do have a temporary sulfuric acid chain set up already, so we can substitute that for now and just focus on stators and rotors and impellers. So to get started, we're going to need to set up a factory for stabilizers. So we have to find a place to plop down our turbine manufacturing chain. But before we do that, let's take a look at our production chain for RTSC generators in Rupture Planner here. So we're going to need access to at least 36 turbines per minute in 4 megapresses, which will require 48 impellers per minute, also made in 4 megapresses. So if we restrict this to just 4 megapresses worth of turbines times 40, this is a much simpler chain to look at here. So we're going to be maxing out 4 full megapresses worth of turbines, which is going to require 80 sulfuric acid, which we are definitely producing, 3 megapresses of impellers, which will require 2 fabricators worth of stabilizers. So let's set this up. So to actually begin planning our factory here, let's work our way backwards from megapress to see what we're going to have to start manufacturing, because some of the stuff we already have online and available for dispatch, so we don't need to start the production chain from the very beginning. So going backwards from megapress, we know that we're going to need access to impellers. Impellers are going to be made in 3 megapresses. The inputs to this megapress are going to be titanium rods, which we already have available, heat-resistant sheets, which we already have available, wolfram plates, which we already have available, and stabilizers, which we do not. So stabilizers are going to require, again, titanium rods, which we have, and rotors, which we do not. Rotors is going to be made in 2 fabricator V2s, and if we work backwards from here, we're going to need wolfram wire, which we're going to need to set up a single fabricator V2. We're also going to need access to wolfram plates, which we have, and titanium rods, which we have. So I think we'll start there. We're going to need to set up a wolfram wire fabricator V2. feeding into a rotor fabricator V2, which will then feed into a stabilizer fabricator and then into impeller. So that'll be our initial chain here. So let me switch back to the game. And we're also going to need to find a place to set this up. Now we do have access to a lot more areas now that our pillar support has been increased, so we can level off areas that would have been difficult to level off previously with the more limited support area. So we just need to find an area that the elevation changes aren't too drastic, and then we can make all of our flattening happen with just these new pillars. So we have this area right here next to our glass manufacturing line that seems to be pretty flat and has a lot of thermal capacity available. So I think maybe we'll set up right here. So to start out, we're going to find what the highest elevation level is along the path that we expect to be manufacturing here, which is probably right around here. I'm going to create this here just as a placeholder, create a supported platform at this height. And this is the level that we're going to basically level an area straight from here so that we can try to keep this manufacturing pipeline as flat as possible. So let me get over here a bit. So if we lock our Z here, I expect we're going to need a second platform to hit this level. So we're going to expect to have, as soon as autosave is done, let's go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, lock our Z, bring it this way. So we're going to expect to have, at a height of 2 pillars, an adjacent tile support of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tiles. Basically, we want to put a supported platform every 7 tiles to ensure that we have 100% support coverage in this area. Just like that. So that'll be our horizontal arch, and then our lengthwise arch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 will look like that. You can put a pillar straight down here because the elevation actually starts to move up here. And then we'll do the same in this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Supported platform. Make sure we're locked in our Z level. Pillar support, and then we'll just make a grid like this. Line this up here. Pillar support on top. Platform on top. And we should be able to completely fill in this intersection here, just like that. So we're going to create the bed of our factory in this fashion. And that looks something like this, so I'm sure we'll extend it from here, but this should be more than enough to start with, and I'll probably end up cutting this down because the more tiles you have like this when you create a factory bed, the more load you're putting on your save file, because the game has to constantly calculate the power and structural calculations for all these individual tiles. So you want to avoid using this particular layout as often as you can. So after we get our actual factory built, I'll come back through and we'll optimize this by cutting out all the tiles that we don't actually need to support our factory. But for now, this will be a jumping ground to start placing manufacturing buildings down. So we said that we were going to start with copper wire, which we can build in a fabricator V2. But before we can place the fabricator down, we're going to need a cargo receiver to actually receive the Wolfram bars. So we're going to go to cargo receivers. We're going to start our factory, let's say, right here. And then we'll use this side of our pillar divide for our manufacturing buildings, and we'll use this side for our rail distribution. Although if we look at our actual recipe, this Wolfram wire production is only going to require 53 units of Wolfram bars per minute. So I think that might be a bit overkill to assign an entire 240 Wolfram bar output to. So I might just tap a local Wolfram node here that's not in use, maybe one of these over here, and then just pipe that into this receiver here. There we go, something quick and dirty just like this, extracting straight into a cargo dispatcher. We're going to call this W or TX9. We're going to accept Wolfram ore. We'll go set this up with our receiver. So back here on our factory floor, I think what I'll do is we'll do our smelting in the same line as our receiver, since we only need one of these. So we'll do a cargo receiver here. We'll replace these platforms. We'll place a smelter directly in front of that, facing this direction, and this should be lined up with, there we go, the front line of our manufacturing stack here. So we'll go directly out and in, and then we'll go directly out onto our manufacturing stack here. So let's set up the first multi-rail here, say at this level, for our distribution. 1, 2, 3. We'll come directly into the first line here. We'll set this up as W or RX9. We're going to accept ore from TX9. We're going to need to apply some power, solar generator. I'm not sure exactly where I want this power. Let's just put it here for now. We're going to set this up to smelt wolfram bars. And we should be receiving, I believe that's producing 120. We only need about 13 to 14 bars per minute. So we're going to be receiving a lot more than we're going to actually need to smelt here. So I don't think we'll have an issue with throughput of wolfram ore here. So there we go. Now we've got some wolfram bars in the line here. Now we are going to want to buffer these outputs. So maybe what I'll do in this factory, just to keep each one of these a little bit different so we're not doing the same thing every episode, let's try buffering these in the front since we now have a lot more room available to us. So if we put or align our buffers to the right-hand side of our manufacturing stack here, then we can receive on the left-hand side, run this backwards, and then we can bring our outputs. I guess we'll need, no, because our connectors will be in between these factories, right? They'll be like right here. If this were a normal manufacturing stack here, there'd be a one tile gap between this, so we can then go straight into our buffer in the front. So yeah, let's try buffering this one in the front, see how feasible this ends up being. So we'll run our main bus right here, because we'll need to be able to come down from this spot, right? So if this were a normal manufacturing stack, we'd need to be able to come down like this, and we come down under our main bus and then up onto the line just like this. So we'll output into here directly from our smelter. We'll set this to collect wolfram bars. So now we have wolfram bars available on rail 1 of our bus. So our next item we know is going to be Fabricator V2 to produce wolfram wire. And we're going to want to put this on, let's see, do we want to make this a flat factory or a double stack factory? I think double stack, flat's probably easier, but double stack looks nicer for a thumbnail, so let's do a double stack. So we'll do, well, we can't do supported platform on top of platforms, and we do have a bit of an issue where they've now made it difficult to put a pillar on top of a placed platform. So as you can see, it's if you place a pillar on a platform, it's actually trying to put it underneath it to support that platform rather than above it to build it up. And there's no way to raise the elevation, so scrolling the scroll wheel does nothing. So now you basically have to have a pillar underneath in order to have a pillar on top, which is going to somewhat complicate our build here, because it means that I'll have to come in here, I'll have to delete a platform, and then place a supported platform exactly 6 tiles underneath, which means we need to come back here. We'll have to lock our Z, come back here, place a supported platform, place a pillar support on top of that, place another platform to replace the platform that was already there, and now we can place a pillar on top of that. So I'm not super stoked about that, but at the very least, it is possible to do it with a little extra legwork. So we're going to put a pillar here. We're going to put another pillar at the beginning of our machine here, and we'll go another 4 back in this direction here. Supported platform. We'll lock our Z. Go here and here. Pillar supports on top. Platforms on top. More pillars on top of that. And now we can build our second deck here. 1 and 2. Do the same thing on this side. Supported platform. Lock our Z. We'll place our pillars here, here, and here. Pillar supports. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Platforms. So now we can build our storage depot here. We can place our fabricator V2 here, facing this way. Hopefully this will not be in the way, because we're going to need to place a rail connector. Let's say we place it right here. We're gonna need this to be sort of in line with our main bus here. So this will run backwards to here. This will run rail connector back forward to our storage depot. Like this. And then we need to get this up here, which we're gonna do with our usual methods. We're gonna put a supported platform here. I don't know how many of these we're going to need. We'll start with 5 here, and we'll expand if necessary. We'll put our supported platform right here. Put a pillar support on top. Put a platform on top of that. Then 2 more pillars. 1, 2. Platform on top of that. Then we can put our rail support. Well, this will be for coming back down. We'll put this here. We'll lower it by 1. Oop. We'll put another one. Need this to be aligned to the left-hand side. So we'll put another one right here, which is already lowered by 1. So we need to bring this back to here. We need a pillar to bring this up, which is going to be aligned to this right here. Pillar support, platform, pillar support, platform. Now we can place another rail support here. And bring our rail up. Across. There we go. Now we can bring this back over on this side with another rail support. Like so. We'll go straight out into this. Now, I'd rather that be straight. So we'll do a rail support on top of this one. Just like that. Then we'll go out from here. Nice and straight. Bring this down to here. And then this can come up. We'll go down 1 more. This can come up into rail 2. There we go. So we need to get up top here. We'll set our fabricator V2 to produce wolfram wire V2, which consumes wolfram bars. So those should flow up here automatically. There we go. We'll set this to collect wolfram wire on the output side. There we go. Now we have wolfram wire on our bus. So our next stack from wolfram wire, we're going to move on to rotors. So rotors are going to require wolfram wire, wolfram plate, and titanium rods. So we're going to need to set up 2 more cargo receivers to receive those materials into our manufacturing line here. So we'll start with a cargo receiver lined up with our smelter here. We'll place a storage depot for buffering. Now we'll set this up to receive titanium rods from T-Rod TX2, so we'll call this T-Rod RX2. This will export into our storage depot here, titanium rods. We'll set up a second floor. This will be aligned to here. And here. Take our supported platforms. Lock our Z. Place 1, 2, then pillar supports 1, 2, then platforms 1, 2, then pillar supports 1, 2, 3, 4. Platforms. Now we can build another cargo receiver here. Another storage depot here. Connect these outputs. Rail V3. Let's get up top. Here we're going to need to receive plates, which we do not have set up for dispatch, so we'll have to go set that up, but we'll call this... Well, we don't know what we're going to need to call this because we don't know how many of those we're currently using. Luckily, our plate distribution is right over here. Okay, for titanium sheets, since we do have 2 more storage depots full of sheets untouched so far, what I'll do is we'll put a pair of cargo dispatchers, let's say right here. And right, well, let's go above. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 units of offset. It's going to be 12 and 3. We'll bring this down. 1, 2, 3. Lock our Z. 1, 2. 2 pillar supports. 1, 2. 1, 2. Platform, platform, copy. And bring this up to a height of 15. There we go. There's 2 for storage unit number 1. And then we'll do a second set for storage depot number 2. 1 here. Cargo dispatcher number 2. We're going to need a little bit of thermal assistance here. Base core amplifier. 1, 2. Now, we'll do rail modulators facing this direction. Lock our Z. 1, 2. Lock our Z. 1, 2. Rails out. Rails in. Like so. And then we'll take one of these 480 feeds into here. We'll take another one of these 480 feeds into here. We're going to need a little bit more juice down here at the end. Now we already have 2 dispatchers set up for titanium sheets, so this will be T-sheet TX3 titanium sheets and T-sheet TX4 T-sheet, and then on top we're going to have 5 and 6 T-sheet TX5 T-sheet TX6. There we go. Now we're ready to dispatch. I think I am going to change this just a bit though. I think because we do need titanium beams, which you don't have any manufacturing set up for, I think I'm going to do a similar manufacturing stack to what we did for Wolfram Wire here. I'm going to put a receiver in the back here. We're going to set up 1 titanium excavator with a dispatcher to deliver some titanium ore to our line here. So we'll come and set this to titanium ore RX10. Connect it to TX10. This will bring titanium ore into our line here. I'm going to take all of our rods out of here. We'll set up a smelter here facing this way. Full width. Rail V3. Out from here into the smelter. Out from here into our cargo dispatcher. Smelter will produce titanium bars. you're going to buffer titanium bars. And then up top here, instead of a receiver, we're going to have a fabricator aligned to here. One to produce titanium beams, so we'll go set that up. Actually, can we do this double wide? You should be able to, just to fill in the space here. There we go. So we'll turn this around, bring this up. There we go. We'll do a rail connector on the input, which is going to be aligned to here. We'll do a rail connector on the output, aligned to there. One fabricator out to our buffer. In. We're going to set this to produce titanium beams. You're going to store titanium beams, and now we need to bring our titanium bars up here. So let's continue our bus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like so. Our next available rail is going to be right here. We'll bring this down one. We'll do titanium bars out of here. Titanium bars. I don't know if we'll even need to put this on a rail. We can just bring this to the right, and I might just do that for Wolfram bars as well. We'll bring this over to this side, so we're going to do a rail support here, drop it by 1. This is going to be brought this way. Then another rail support up top. Rail V3. Send that across. There we go. Bars are flowing. Beams are fabbing. Now we have titanium beams. So we're going to set up a pillar on the opposite side. Lock our Z. Going to go right here. 1 pillar support. Then a platform. Then 2 pillars. Then a platform. This will allow us to place a rail support here, drop it by 1. And here, raise it by 1. Send this, we'll do this, yeah, into a rail support, just to keep things nice and straight. Into here. Send it across. Bring it down. And we'll bring this up onto, let's see if we need to reconfigure our rails here. So, are we going to use Wolfram bars anywhere else? Wolfram wire. Wolfram plates we already have accounted for. And Wolfram powder is used in ceramics and in chemicals, which we already have accounted for elsewhere. So no, we're not going to need any more Wolfram bars. So I'm going to take these off of our main bus. We'll bring our Wolfram wire over to rail 1 instead. Like so. We'll bring that forward. Now, let's double check for titanium bars. Titanium bars are used in titanium beams, titanium sheets, and titanium rods. We have rods and sheets accounted for. We just accounted for titanium beams. We will no longer need titanium bars either. So we do not need to bring that onto our main bus. We do need to put a rail connector here to bring our titanium beams over and then up onto rail 2. And there we go. So now we can do our cargo receivers for titanium rods and titanium sheets. So we'll do a cargo receiver here. We'll do a cargo receiver here, which is going to require some additional support. So let's put, let's delete this and this. Oh, that's actually already got a pillar on it. Perfect. So we'll put the platform here. We'll put a supported platform. Well, I guess if this is at this height, we don't need to. We'll just lock our Z here. We'll put this at this height. platform, pillar, pillar, platform, platform. That should be enough to support this cargo receiver. It is. Then we can put 2 storage depots, one here, one here, rails out, like so. We're going to be receiving titanium rods, so we'll do T-Rod RX2. We'll set this to titanium rods. We're going to be receiving titanium sheets, and with those set up, we can now receive T-Sheet TX3. We'll call this T-Sheet RX3. We'll set this to receive titanium sheets. And now we just need to get these onto our main bus. So let's continue our main bus setup right here. So we'll put an additional pillar support, supported platform, then a pillar support, then a platform, then a pillar support, then a platform. Now we can put our multi-rail supports right here. We'll bring our titanium sheets down on rail supports. Like so. And so our next available rail, if we bring these two forward, will be here and here. We'll put rail connectors in both locations. We'll bring rods down into here. We'll bring sheets over into here. And there we go. The next item that we're going to need to fly in is wolfram plates. So we'll set up some dispatchers for wolfram plates as well. For our wolfram plates, we're currently using one of our 3 silos, and it's the one that has the 240 rail on it. So we have 2 full 480 rails of wolfram plates available. So I think what we'll do is we'll bring these off to the right. So I'm going to build up a platform here using platforms and our new extended pillar support capabilities. We'll flatten out an area that we can begin building up some drone dispatchers in. Let's see, can we get away with this? This is going to be too sharp of a turn. If we bring this down to here, and this down to here, that looks like it'll work just fine. So I'm going to stack up some drone or cargo dispatchers. We have 2 rails here. Each one of these is going to be doing 240 out of 480, so I'm going to need to bring these up. So it'll come out 1. So we'll do 1 here. And then we need to bring our second one up. Let me put some pillars here. So 15. Closest is going to be 12. I don't know if we can bury pillars here, though. Let's see. We'll get rid of this and this. So we're going to be at 12 plus 1, 2, 3. Lock our Z. Place 1 here, 1 here. Add 2 pillars on top. This should give us 15. Bring this up and place it right here. So that'll be 1 set of dispatchers, and then we'll do a second set right here. Set up the same way, and then we can dispatch these 2 rails of 480 wolfram plates. We'll feed this into here. This into here. Like so. Then pass each of these through. Just like that. And now I can set up our dispatchers here. I'm just going to slap some Got the ladder on the side here that I can jump onto, so I don't have to fly all the way up here. Alright, so we'll set these to... Now this is our first exit off of here, right? No, this is our second, so this will be 3 and 4. So we'll do Wolfram Plate WPLT TX1, or TX3, I'm sorry. Wolfram Plate TX3. We'll accept Wolfram Plates. Here they come. You'll be Wolfram Plate TX4. Accept Wolfram Plates. You'll be Wolfram Plate TX1. Accept plates. And Wolfram Plate TX2. Oop. I did not. WPLT TX2. Did I name this one correctly? I did not. WPLT TX1. There we go. Okay, so now we can dispatch these. And now that we have those available on dispatchers, we can continue our main bus in this direction. So let's set up, let's hide this, delete this. This right here, I want to say, was our main grid. So we're going to go 7 units in this direction, extend our factory floor here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We'll set up a pillar support under this. We'll do the same thing in this direction. I think we'll need a supported platform here, so we'll lock our Z. Bring this over. Pillar support on top. Like that. And then we can fill all of this in. Do the same thing in the back here. Pillar support, then a platform, like so. Now, cargo receiver, right here. Storage depot right here. Rail V3, bring this into here. This will link to W-Plate TX1. Oop, I mislabeled one of these. That's okay. W-Plate TX1. We'll call this WPLT RX1. We'll set this... Oh, don't delete it. We'll set this to store Wolfram Plates. Then we need to bring our bus forward again to right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Delete our platforms here and here. Lock our pillar height here. 1, 2. Platform, platform. Then pillar, pillar. Then platform, platform. Now we can put our next deck here, but first we need to bring this onto pole 2, rail 3. So let's bring our rails forward. Bring our rail connector under this tile here. Drop it by 1. We'll put a rail support here. Drop it by 1. Bring this up here. There we go. Now we have Wolfram Plates. So now we should be ready to assemble our rotors here. We have access to Wolfram wire, we have access to Wolfram Plates, and we have access to Wolfram or titanium rods, right? Yeah. So we're gonna need 2 fabricator V2s. So let's put these as the next items on our stack here. So we're gonna go above our receiver, bring this up to here, flip this around, place 1, and we're gonna need a second set of pillars right here and right here. So grab our pillar supports, We'll bring this, we'll just eyeball this, bring this down 1. Bring this down 1. Platform, platform, then pillar, pillar. Pillar, pillar. Platform, platform. Copy our Fabricator V2. Bring it up to here. Like so. Set up our rails. Connector here. Lock our Z. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rail V3s. Into here. Into here. And then out from here. Out from here. We're gonna need a cargo or a storage depot. Storage depot. Bring our rail in. There we go. Let's set our recipe. These are going to be rotors, so we're going to need rods, wire, and plates. Rotors. We're going to need some rail supports to get these items up here. Now, I think... Let's just double check our recipe here. I think we can fit all of this onto one V3 rail. So if we go to rotors here, we've got 20, 20, and 40 for each item input, so we're definitely covered. Bring this here, down by 1. We'll bring this up to the top, up by 1. Loop our rail up. Send it this way. So now we need 1 and 3. And we'll do our... We'll do our secondary bus here, so 1, 2... 1, 2. This would be Wolfram wire into here. Bring this around. This should be... Wolfram titanium rods into here. Wrap this around, send this to the right. And then we have Wolfram plates, which we can send backwards into here. And this being backwards should gate this from having either of these two materials being able to hop up onto this rail here. So we'll send this backwards into here. This will send this down to here. We'll send this to the right. Let's do this. Down 1 just for consistency. But it's under our rail. That's going to send that up top there. So that should be everything we need to produce rotors. So we'll put this to rotors. We're going to need some more power. There we go. I see materials flowing. Everything's coming in. We're manufacturing. We're producing 6 rotors every 6 seconds, which is 60 per minute. And here they come. So let's get this back onto our line. We're gonna need a supported platform here. Lock our Y. Pillar. Platform. Pillar, pillar. Platform. I don't know what this is for. Let's get this out of here. Rail support. Bring it down 1. Rail support. Bring it up 1. Rail support here. Bring this across. And then over to here. Actually, I don't need to delete these. I can just put a rail connector on it. You used to not be able to do this because if you were trying to place a rail connector on, or any kind of rail, on an existing platform and you were trying to bring it down, you could only bring it down once, and then it would tell you can't go any further down, it would turn red. But they fixed that now, so you can just build this directly on here with no issues. We'll bring this up. We'll bring this into here. There we go. And then, I don't know if we'll need these again, but I'll bring them forward anyway. Well, this one we can't, but I'm pretty sure... No, we may actually need rods. Let me check. We're definitely going to need rods again, so instead of bringing them out to the left, I'll bring them out to the right. And then we can use this output to bring these back forward again. There we go. This is running back, so this will actually... This will allow titanium... Or this will allow Wolfram plates to jump here and then up onto this line, so that can't be like that. So what I think I'll do is we'll interrupt this line here. I'll put another rail connector here. Bring this through so these guys stop complaining. And instead of coming back onto this, we'll come back onto this. There we go. Now we don't have to do this. We can bring these straight forward. Now everybody's happy. Okay, next stack. I believe with rotors down, we can now produce stabilizers. So let's take a look at our build chart. From rotors, we can now go into stabilizers. So we need 2 fabricators, bringing in titanium rods and rotors. So we'll need to expand our factory floor yet again. We'll go from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to here. Pillar supports 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to here. Lock our Y, place this here. Pillar support. Now we can fill in all of this. Please. There we go. And the same in this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pillar support. Platform. Beautiful. So, from here, we're going to need 2 fabricators. Facing this way. And starting here. I guess we'll do 5 wide. 1 and 2. We'll set up our rail connectors. 1 here. 1 here. 1 here. And 1 here. Connect our rails. Oops. Bring these forward into a storage depot here. Now we'll set up our pillars here, here, and here. And platforms, 1, 2, 3. Then we can place the next part of our bus, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Supported platform. Okay, there's our stack. Now, for this recipe, stabilizers, we're going to need rotors and titanium rods. Stabilizers. Let's take a look here. Rail V3. So, rotors we know is right here because we just built this stack, so we'll put a rail connector here, down 1. And then titanium rods is right here on rail 3, so we'll put this here. Bring this down 1. Put a rail support here, down 1, 2. 1 here, up 1. 1 here, up. Wait, no, these don't go up. What are you doing? Well, that's for later anyway. We'll need those eventually, but not right now. So these will go... we said rail 3 here. Yeah, so this will go here. We'll bring this forward again. Wrap this around this way. This will be our rotors, which I don't think we need again. We'll wrap this around this way, but I mean, it's not going to kill us to bring it forward. And then we'll send this to the left. And that should be everything that we need for that. Items are flowing. Stabilizers are fabricating. Now we need to bring this out onto our line. So we'll do a rail support here. Bring it down by 1. We'll bring a rail connector to here. Bring it down by 1. Send this across. We'll bring our rails forward. Please. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so that's stabilizers. So what are we going to need next? So our goal at the minute is impellers. So we have titanium rods available. We have wolfram plates available. We have heat-resistant sheets available. We just finished building stabilizers, so we need to get heat-resistant sheets onto our line, 80 per minute, and we can then connect everything up to our mega presses. So we're going to need a receiver for heat-resistant sheets, which are actually right behind us. So in this case, I think we're going to cheat, and we're just going to bring this over here on a rail. So let's grab one output from here. Bring this down 1. And we'll just rail these guys over here. How do we want to do this? We want to give it its own. I think it'll look bad if there's just an empty spot here. But it does need a buffer. So let's put a storage depot. Right here. We'll put a rail support right here. Let's see, can we bring this rail into this rail? We can. So we'll bring this right into here. This is going to ruin my screenshot, but this isn't exactly an aesthetically pleasing factory anyway. We'll set this to heat-resistant sheets. And we need to get this onto our bus here, so we're going to do a rail support as usual. Send this across. Bring this down. 1. How did that happen? Why is that even legal? Send it across. We're going to bring this to a rail connector here. Down 1. Bring this in. Bring this over. There we go. So there's stabilizers. There's heat-resistant sheets. That should be everything we need to mega press. So let's do that next. A mega press. Starting here. 1. 2. 3, I believe is what we need. Let me double check here. 3 mega presses for impellers. So we'll set up rail connectors. Here. 1, 2. 1, 2. And one more in the back. Set up our rails. Ow! He's really hungry. Output. Output. And these will bring into a storage depot right here. Rails in. There we go. Let's set our recipe for impeller. And we're going to need rods, heat-resistant sheets, wolfram plates, and stabilizers. So let's put our bus connections here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna need another supported platform right here. Pillar support, platform, pillar, platform. So we know heat-resistant sheets is going to be right here. We'll bring this down 1. Bring this down, one more. Heat resistant sheets is the very last thing we added on here, which is right here. So we'll circle these around to here. We're gonna need titanium rods, which is rail 3 on pole 1. So put a rail connector here, bring it down again, grab rail 3. This will need to go forward again. We'll wrap this around here. Now we need wolfram plates and stabilizers. Wolfram plates are right here, which is rail 2. Put a rail connector here. Oh, come on.
Prepare for a wave.
So annoying. Rail 2. Especially because trying to build anything with the player camera is such a disaster right now. Bring these around. And then what was the last thing? Stabilizers. Stabilizers are right here. We may end up doing is deleting this rail, sending this, if I can, to here instead, so that we can take stabilizers into this. Please. 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 Go, please. Just go. Go into it. I'm looking right at it. Go in. Good God. Okay, now we can bring everything to the left. Somehow. Auto-saving. Great, everything is just going to crap all at once. Bring you up. And that should be everything. Here it comes. And here comes the sun. So we're going to drop down a quick habitat. A quick airlock. Our mega presses should be mega pressing soon. Hopefully. We'll set this to impellers. We're missing sheets, but we'll check that in just a minute. Oh, there's our issue. This needs to wrap around like that. There's our heat-resistant sheets. Okay, now we'll be mega pressing. Perfect. And there's our impellers. Okay, so now let me just make sure all of them are running. We don't have any issues here. We're running perfect. Okay, we're getting close to the end now, which is good because we're also running out of space. So, after this stack, after impellers, our other ingredients are going to be stators and sulfuric acid. We have sulfuric acid. Oh, and then what is this? Rotors. Okay, so we have rotors as well. Sulfuric acid we just need to set up stator manufacturing, which is going to be titanium sheets, titanium housings, and wolfram wire. All of which we have, so we need to set up one single fabricator V2 for stators here. Let's put another deck on here. 1, 2. Platforms here. We should also probably put this on the line, but we'll do that in just a second. We'll put a storage depot right here. We'll need a fabricator V2. Facing this way. Let's go take a look. Oh, whoops, titanium housings. I skipped a step. Okay, so we'll get rid of this guy. That's okay. We can easily readjust. We'll just change this to a furnace. Facing this way with the expanded base. We'll put this here. So we're going to be making titanium housings with beams and sheets, which we have available. Put our rail connectors in. One here. One here. Output, input, I keep getting those reverse. This is output. We're going out of the rail connector, but into the machine. There we go. Now we need titanium beams and titanium sheets. So let's go take a look. Titanium beams are rail 2, and titanium sheets are rail, we'll call it rail 4. So 2 and 4. So we'll need to come forward from here. 2 is going to be this way. We're going to have to do some creative routing here. 2 and 4, maybe we can do it this way. So if we do 2 into here, and 4 into here, let's just make sure we don't need sheets or housings anywhere else, because if not, this will be a lot more convenient for us. So the only thing that we're going to need forward from here, we do need sheets for this. So at the very least we have to bring sheets forward. So sheets we can bring forward. That shouldn't be too hard because this will be right back onto this rail here. So to connect these together, let's try a rail modulator. Maybe here. We'll bring this down 1. Can I bring, since we don't need to bring titanium beams forward anymore, let's grab this output, swing it around here. We'll grab this output, send it into here. Then we can bring these into a rail support here, rotate it, bring it down 1, bring it up 1. We'll come out of our modulator into here, sweep it up, send this across to here. That just turned green. We'll set this to titanium housings. There's 1. There's 2. Zipper merge. Now we need to send this back across at full height. Down 1. Up 1. Send this over. Bring this down. Now our next available rail, if we bring these forward to the middle rail here, which we cannot, but we should be able to do something like this. Rail 2, there we go. You are on rail 1, which we also can't do, but we can do something like this. Is put a rail connector all the way down here. Bring you to here, you up to here. There we go. There's 1, 2, 3. These can come forward. We'll just bring forward as much as we can. Rail 2, we can't. Can we sweep it up from here? We can't. We can do this into here. We can't do that. Now we'll see if we even need to do that. We'll leave it as it is. What a rat's nest. Okay, so we're producing titanium sheets. We're bringing them down. They're up here. So, sorry, not titanium sheets, but titanium housings. From here, we're ready for stators, which is wolfram wire, titanium sheets, and titanium housings. So now we can build our fabricator V2. We just need to extend our factory floor again. So we'll go from here, fill this in. We'll go back from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pillar support. Fill this in. We'll need a Fabricator V2 facing this way. Storage depot.
Don't drink something soon. I'm gonna die.
Oh, we're outside our base core area. Okay, let me go get some hydration for this guy.
Stable.
Alright, we're gonna need a base core out here somewhere. I guess let's try not to overlap this too much with what we currently have. We do something like this. There. 157, that should be more than enough. So let's continue this. We were trying to place a storage depot right here. Gonna need a rail connector right here, I'm pretty sure. That's how I've been doing it. Put this out into here. A rail connector in the back for our output. Into here. Here we are manufacturing stators, which is going to require housings, wire, and sheets. So let me find where all this comes in here. Sheets is here on rail 4. We'll bring this down 1. Bring this down 1 more. We'll grab rail 4. Loop this around. There we go. Next up, from wire, which should be our very first rail. That was the first thing we made, so that should be pretty easy. Rail connector right here. Bring this down. We do need to actually bring this forward, though. There we go. Bring this into here. I can't copy this for whatever reason. Rail connector. Bring this down. Circle this around. There's 2. And the last thing we need is titanium housings, which would be right down here on the end. Right here. 1, 2. Last output. Circle this around. Bring it all to the left. That should be everything. We'll set this to stators. We're fabricating. There's our stators. Okay, we're getting close. So, build our second deck here. Platform. Now, what's next? Next, we're going to be bringing in sulfuric acid via a cargo receiver, so we need to set up a dispatcher over at our sulfuric acid factory. So let's set that up next. Okay, so we should have a full 480 item rail coming into our storage depot here, so I'm going to set up, move this back a bit, I'm going to set up 2 dispatchers here. We'll set up a rail modulator here and here. Output into our dispatchers. Go there. Bring this around. Send this forward. So this is going to be sulfuric acid ACD TX1. Sulfuric acid. You will be sulfuric acid TX2. Okay. Let's go set up our receiver. Okay, and we're back. So we're gonna set up a drone receiver, cargo receiver up top here to receive our sulfuric acid. Let's get this right here into a storage depot. Rail V3 out. Rail V3 out. Thank you. Let's get up top. You are going to connect to SACD TX1, so you will be RX1. We're going to output sulfuric acid here. We're going to get this put onto the line via rail supports. Straight across and down. Like like so. We need to connect both of our feeds here up to our bus. So we'll take a rail support. Down one. Out. And our next available line is going to be right here. So we'll do 1 and 2. Just like that. Now, we'll see how many of these we can bring forward. Bring everything we can forward. So, we're ready for our final step here. So the last thing should be mega presses producing turbines, which we don't have the recipe for just yet, so we will have to go unlock that. Let's take a peek. So we're going to need to bring... Well, we have to find out how much we're going to need first, but we're going to need impellers, stators, rotors, and sulfuric acid. So if I build a temporary hab here... We'll put an airlock on. Show me in the recipe station here. Inside... In Megapress, we want to make turbines. So fortunately, we already have the blueprint for it. We're going to need 200 impellers, 300 stators, and 200 rotors. Okay, and this should be all of it. Megapress. We're going to put in our turbine blueprints. 200 impellers, 300 stators, auto-saving, 300 stators, 200 rotors, and 1,000 data points. There's our turbine recipe. Let's stitch this. Now, we can set turbine. Perfect. So we're going to need 4 of these. See if we have enough room or if we'll have to do 2 stacks. Two, 3. Yeah, we're gonna run out of room, so let's do 2 and 2. So we'll put supported platforms here. Lock our Y. And here. And we'll go on the back of these 2. Up by 2. 1, 2. There we go. Now our mega presses. Here and here. Put our rail connectors in. 1 here. 1 here. One, lock our Z2. 1 here. Bring this up. Lock this. 1, 2, 3. Connect our rails. Out. Output. Now we'll definitely want to do our collection on the bottom here. We do a V2. Is this gonna fit? And if we do this right here, taking up all the space, and then we'll need to bring put our rail support right here, and we bring these into here, and then this down. We may need to do something like this. Will this work? That will work. Okay. We'll bring this into here. And then we'll bring this into here. Oh, we can't do that. Unless we do this. Put a rail connector there. We'll bring this into here. Circle that around. There we go. A little ugly, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So, let's fill in the rest of these platforms here. pillar support, just to cap it all off. So now we need to get impellers, stators, rotors, and sulfuric acid into these mega presses. So let's start with impellers. Impellers, we somehow managed to not put on our line at all. Okay. So let's repurpose this maybe. And we'll put this on rail 2. So we'll bring this down into here. And we'll bring rail 2 up here. So then rail 2 can come forward. Rail 2 can be impellers. So we can put this at height because this is the end of the line here. That'll go into there. There come our impellers. Next we need stators and rotors. So stators are right here on rail 1. So we'll grab rail connector. Stators. Rotors. Rotors are right here. Rotors are rail 3, and they do come all the way through, thankfully. So we'll put a rail connector here. Rail 3. And then sulfuric acid is right here. So we'll put a rail connector here. We'll grab this output here for... Oh, we can't until we ditch this. So we'll do sulfuric acid into here. Reconnect these. We're going to send all of this... Well, technically we need to send this to the left and to the right, which is going to be interesting, but we'll do it to the left first. And then we need to also send this upstairs, which we should be able to do with a rail support here. Another rail support here. And we'll loop these through into here, and then we'll just take this final output here into another rail connector. Like this. There we go. That should bring everything up here as well. I think. Oh, we don't have recipes set. Ha! Okay, so recipes. Turbine. 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 We'll set our storage unit to store turbines. And here they come. Okay. So we have access to turbines now. Let's just make sure that all of our mega presses here are operating correctly. We're pressing. We're pressing. We're pressing. Okay, all of our pressers are pressing. All of our outputs are flowing into our storage depot here. So now we can set up our OCL V2 right here at the end of the line. Rail V3 out. We're going to be delivering these to Selenium Corporation. Yeah, okay. And that's all we can do for now, but wait. And there we go.
You've completed another order, and your reward is waiting in the corporate terminal.
All right. Well, while we hide from the rupture, let's plop down a corporate terminal here and claim our reward from Selenium Corporation. We have the laser drill and the pyro forge, so now we can actually do something with all these new minerals we have access to. So with that out of the way, we only have one more material left that we have not gotten access to, which is powerium, which we will need to get, let's see. We'll need level 11 of future health to access that, but we'll wait for the sound to calm down a little bit. But having access to Goethite means that we can now turn in additional corporate levels for Future Health Solution and for Moon Energy Corporation, which should get us the compounder, which is pretty huge, and one step closer to wind turbines. So
Planetary temperature returning to normal.
there we go. So we'll go and set up some goethite extraction and processing. Before we take off, I do want to take a feed out of our stabilizer production here and turn those into Griffith's Blue just so we can get that corporation a little further along. So here's our stabilizers. We're going to take a feed out of this into an OCLV2. We'll set this to deliver to Griffith's Blue. That's going to choke out our turbine production for now, but we don't really need it for anything at the moment, so that's acceptable while we go and check out our goethite deposits. Okay, we're back here again, and we're ready this time. So, first we're going to set up a base core. Say over here. In the rocks. What is this over here? Oh, helium-3 deposit. Okay. And now we're able to set up laser drills on these deposits. So let's take 1, 2, 3, 4. Do we want to rotate this? I just want to figure out where exactly we're going to collect all this for processing. I guess we'll face them all the same direction for consistency. And oh boy, look at our thermal over here. We're already at 1400. So we're going to need one of our very patented 12 cooler stacks here, so I guess we'll put an instruction on how to build those as well. We're also going to need some more intermediate building materials, so let me grab... How many of these cost? These are 150 a piece, so yeah, we'll grab a couple more stacks of this and we'll finish this off. Alright. Last I'll set up a zip line back to base, so it should be easy to get back and forth between there and here. So, back with some more building materials. So we're going to need to build our remaining extractors here, laser drills. Facing the same direction as all the others. And we need to come up with an extra 1,000 units of thermal capacity. So let's just make sure that everything is covered here. It is. Very good. So at a cost of... or at a contribution of 20 thermal units, we're going to need a total of, what's that, 50 of these? And we can stack them 12 high. So let's bring these over to here. Let's do 5 towers of 12. So we'll have a little bit of overhead. So normally I would start this at the same level here, but for reasons we'll see in a minute, I'm actually going to raise this by 1. It's actually not even much of a spoiler, it's because there's a slight slope as this goes up, so we need to offset this by 1 so that the elevation here doesn't screw us as we're getting into our build. So going up by 1 unit here, you may not need to if you're doing this on a flatter area, but because there is a bit of an incline here, this is going to save me some headache in a bit. I'm going to go out 1, 2, place these 4 here.
Wow, you have fulfilled
That scared me.
another order from the Griffith's Blue Corporation.
You know it.
Claim reward.
Okay, so this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let's just double check our heights here. That is not what I wanted. Base core amplifier. So if I place this here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to raise this by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to lock our Z here. Let's make sure that at this height over the top of all 5 of these that we don't get a situation where it's trying to do this, where it's trying to put down its own pillars and saying that it can't be placed here because there's another base core amplifier under it. So at this height, we should be good for all these base core amps, which is why we raised them by 1. So we're going to take a pillar support. We're going to put 8 pillars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh my god, we're going to be taller than the base core. 8 pillars. There we go. So, back down here at the bottom, we're going to take a supported platform. We're going to do offsets of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which we can't do, so we're going to have to go down 1. and then do 6, which will bring us to a height difference of 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So we're going to do another set of 1, 2, 3. And in the back, we're going to do an offset of 1. And we'll see why in a minute, but I'm going to repeat that for each one of these guys. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can't do, so we'll go down 1. Add 6. Should bring us to 5. Then 1, 2, 3. And then an offset of 1 in the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can do that here. 1, 2, 3. And then an offset of 1. So, our first, well, I guess our second base core amplifier is going to need to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll lock our Y. We locked it too high. Here. 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 And... nope, I missed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. So we have a difference of 5, and then from this point on, all of our base cores are going to have a height differential of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It turned orange, so that's going to be our next height target. So we've got 5 and 4 is 9. 9 minus 6 is 3, so we already have our platform for 3. So we're going to add 1 pillar support onto each of these 3 offset pillar supported platforms. Then we're going to add a platform on top of each one of these. And then we're going to go base core amplifier, 1, 2, 3, 4. Lock our Z, 1, and 5. There we go. So now we're at 9 plus 4 is 13. Closest divisible number divided by 6 is 12. 13 minus 12 is 1. We have our pillars for 1 offset here in the back. Pillar supports. There's 12 and 1 is 13. 12 and 1 is 13. 12 and 1 is 13. Platform, platform, platform. Base core amplifier, 1, 2, 3, 4. Lock our Z. Oh, that one there. Whoops. Okay, there's that. So now we're at 13 plus 4 is 17. 17 minus 12 is 5. Here's our 5 offset pillar right here. We're going to add 1, 2 pillars to this. This will bring us to an offset of 17. Copy our amplifier. Lock our Z. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. 17 and 4 is 21. Next closest divisible number by 6 is 18. 21 minus 18 is 3. So we'll go to our offset, our 3 offset pillar. We'll add 1, 2 onto each of these. I think you can see the pattern now. So every time we're cycling between an offset of 1, 3, or 5, place these base core amplifiers. 1, 2, 1, and actually we're about to run out of intermediate build materials, so I might have to run back here. No, I definitely will, because we only have enough for 1 more, so let me go grab another handful of these, but yeah, we're just climbing our way up here. Okay, let's continue. Base core amplifiers, where did we leave off? These are all on here. So we had, I want to say we were at 21, which would be 18 and 3. Yeah, so 21 plus 4 is 25, which is an offset of 24 is the next number divisible by 6. 25 minus 24 is 1, so we'll come over to the back here. We'll do pillar supports. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Basically what you can do, just to speed things along, is place 2 pillars on top of each one of these. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Put platforms on top of each one of these. And then at each one of these intervals, you'll be able to place another base core amplifier. Okay, put some caps on these, and this should be every 4 tile interval going up the rest of this stack here. So again, just 2 pillars on top of each one of our 1, 3, or 5 offset pillars. And then continue upward, and now we should be able to take base core amplifier, go inside each one of these stacks. We'll go right to here, go up 1, 2, 3, 4, lock our Y, place one there, place one there, 3, 4, and 5. We'll go up 1, 2, 3, 4, lock our Y. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We'll go up 1, 2, 3, 4, lock our Y. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Lock our Y. Oh, okay, so we've reached the height where we have to put down our temporary platform, right? Because this is not supplying all 4 tiles, but if we plop down 1 platform at a time, we can lock into these side pillars, and those side pillars will contribute to our stability. So we'll pre-build this platform like this. Now we can take base core amplifier, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Platform to here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we can place out our next level here. Getting close. Now, at this final height, you might not be able to actually spread your individual tiles across the entire platform, so what you'll have to do is delete your auxiliary platforms except for your number 3 pillar, and then copy it on all 4 adjacent sides, open sides. So we'll copy our platform here, we'll lock our height, 1, 2, we'll put pillars, stack this up at the top, like this. We'll put platforms on top of this, 1, 2. We'll fill in this last remaining gap here. We'll place a base core amplifier number 12 on top of this, and now you can delete your auxiliary pillars here. 1, 2. 1, 2. It's freestanding, so we'll get rid of all of these. And there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 high. So we're going to repeat that for these other 2 stacks here and get our 12th base core amplifier here on the top. Okay, so small correction. Because I put these too deep, I can't actually put my 12th on these because I can't get these pillar supports to extend into these middle 4 tiles here. So if you want to put a 12th base core amplifier on a too deep system like this, you'd actually need to fill in the entire center of this with pillars, place your 12th base core amplifiers first, then delete all the interior pillars, and then build these as I instructed you here in this video. Otherwise, if you do it just 1 deep, you can do the pillars on the outside to build your 12th amplifier up there, or you can do what I'm going to do and just do a stack of 11 instead of a stack of 12. But either way, we have enough here at 2,120 thermal units. So we have enough to run all of our laser drills here, but we did run out of time for this rupture period. I'm going to build a habitat real quick. We'll wait out this rupture, and we'll come back and get all these laser drills online. Okay, things have cooled down a bit, so let's take a look at how much each one of these is actually extracting. So this is running at 1 every 4 seconds, so each one of these laser drills is producing 15 per minute. And we have a total... way up here. We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're producing a total of 150 per minute, which is enough to fit onto a single V3 rail. So I think what I'll do is I'll channel all of these into the middle here, perhaps, and then we'll run a single V3 rail out of here, and then we'll process it probably in this area here. So let me get this set up. We're going to take a rail connector into the front of each one of these. And you. There we go, something like that. Now we'll take our outputs, and I guess we'll just run this rail right up the center here. So we'll go to here. Run this in as close to a 90-degree pattern as we can here. So we'll run this backwards. We'll run you into here. We'll run you into here. We'll go back again to here. You to you. Let's go here to here. Should be straight, because I don't know if we need this at this rate. We'll get rid of this. We'll take this into here. Bring this way. Boink. Let's see, I don't know if we can do that one that way, though. So what I may do is intersect this here. Like that. We'll do this. And this. And then send this across. There we go. Next, we'll do here. So we can bring this guy in. You to you. Wire it up. There we go. Let's just make sure we got all these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we have 8, 9, 10. Okay. We're on a roll. So next, here and here. Forward. Connect that. Line this up here. And line this up here. Up. And over. Up. And over. And there we go. That should be 150 units per minute of Goethite. Now, I did not check how much power this is going to consume. Let's see. We need 2,500 power. And we're producing, let's see, with each solar generator, we're producing 140. So, 2,500 divided by 140, we need 18 solar generators. So, we're gonna have to put that on a separate base core amplifier. Or base core. We'll put that over here, making sure that we don't have any... Is that a cave there? Is that a cave or... Oh, it's a monolith, never mind. Okay, so we've got 0 on this guy here. So, we can stack these, or we can just do a regular grid. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There we go. So this should have a grid power of, oh, 3220. I went overboard. Anyway, we're going to set a rail support up here. Say right here. This will be our transmission line to send this I get that perfectly straight? I did. You love to see it? We'll send this over to our laser drills. Let's bring it into the side here, because I don't want this to actually be a use rail. And we'll send this right here. So we'll go from here to here, then to here, and then we'll just touch this. Right here. Oh, look at all those lasers. Okay, so they're drilling. So we're gonna need, at the end of this line, we're gonna need a storage depot to send all of this into. So if I set this to Goethite ore, here it all comes. Fantastic. Okay, now what can we actually do with this Goethite ore? We have a new ore processing facility, the Pyro Forge, which refines raw Goethite into products. So we're going to want to put this... Cannot build outside base. Oh, yeah, there's a gap here. That's fine. That's overboard, but we can put it back here. No problem. So if we put this, let's face this, I guess, maybe this way, and then if we need multiple ones, we can just do a row of them here, but let's see what it does first. Yoink. So, inside the Pyro Forge, we can smelt Goethite ingots, which takes 10 every 4 seconds, and we know... No, it takes 1 every 4 seconds, it produces 10. So each one of these is going to consume the output of one of those laser drills. So we're going to need 10 of these to process all of those. I don't know if I need all that. Also, we aren't going to have nearly enough thermal capacity for all that. So we can do, at some point, another stack of cooling towers like that. But for right now, I'm not that concerned about maximizing our production of Goethite ingots. So we'll pop down, that's going to bring us right to the edge. We'll plop down 3 of these. Set up some rail modulators here. Feed in our rails. Like so. We're gonna need to bring... line this up as best as we can. We'll bring this into here. And then we'll take output from here into here. From here into here. No. Oh yeah, we did select a recipe. Even though I think there's only... oh, there's 2. We can do wolfram steel and titanoferrite. So we'll just do Goethite ingots for now. I'm going to put some base core amplifiers over here because I do want to set up like OCLs to deliver some of these ingots. So we'll do base core amplifiers. Just a handful. I'm not going to do a whole tower yet. But we know we will need to do that if we want to get maximum processing online for these Goethite, for the Goethite ore. So here we go. Here are our gigantic Pyro Forges running. Very cool design. I like how it borrows a lot of its design language from the regular smelter. Just bigger and beefier. And so we'll take the output of this. We'll modulate this way. We'll grab the output, send it to the left. And for right now, we'll collect these in a storage depot V1. Each one of these is producing 10 every 4 seconds, so that's 150. So 150, 300, 450 here. Goethite ingot. Here it comes. Okay, so we can set this up on a dispatcher to feed our furnace V2 recipes, so we have at least a couple of them that require goethite ingots, so that's taken care of. And then we can also take the output of this rail into an OCL V2 in order to deliver these to, let's see, who wants these? Future Health wants goethite ore. Here you go. So we'll let that run. Here comes a whole boatload of it. Fantastic. Okay, so that should deliver pretty quickly because these things are pretty valuable. So, I think that's all I wanted to accomplish here. We've got way more goethite ore than we can really process right now with our power and heat limits. But yeah, we're consuming a humongous amount of goethite. These are very cool harvester nodes. I like these. They're harvesting buildings. So let me get a cool panoramic shot of this field here. And from another angle. Very cool. So I think, looking at our recording time here, we're at 4.5 hours on this recording, and then I have another, I think, 2 or 3 hours from a previous recording. So I think I have quite enough footage for this episode. It's going to take me a lot of time to edit all that down. So I think we'll probably call it for this episode. We did not get to refactoring our chemical plant, but we do now have access to the goethite ingots that we're going to need to do that refactoring. So that can be our project for the next episode. But before we close this one out, I want to leave a couple of teasers for some upcoming content here. Things that I have figured out how to do and things that I want to try to do. So I'm going to do a quick cut here. First off, we're going deep down underground under the map to look at some underground engineering. So I have found there's a few ways that you can push yourself beneath the map, and there are ways for you to actually build support structures underneath the map to set up subterranean manufacturing. So we may look into playing around with this at some point in the future, because you essentially have the entire span of the map beneath the map to place additional factories. So we'll take a look at that at some point in a future episode. And on top of that, we're going to the opposite end of the sky, way up into the heavens here, to take a look off into the distance. So we know about the Forgotten Engine. It's the giant structure that I'm sitting on right now. But with this new update, there are also 3 more Forgotten Engines that we can see off in the distance here. We have one to the north, we have one to the west, and then we have one down here to the south. So I'm sure at some point we will be getting access to these, but I want to see if there's a way for us to actually get there before we're allowed to get to them. And there are 2 obstacles in our way. The first is the radiation belt. And the radiation belt is easily dealt with by going above or below it, but there is also an instant kill box that surrounds the map. So if you get too far outside of bounds, your character just suddenly drops dead. So I want to see if there's a way that we can sneak our way around those 2 barriers and go and check out these forbidden Forgotten Engines at some point. But I think that's what we're going to call it for this episode. So we'll do a little outro here on top of the world engine, looking off into the distance. So I didn't exactly accomplish what we set out to do today. I originally planned to expand our chemical and sulfur manufacturing so that we could maybe press into hardening agent, but we had to task shift into setting up turbine manufacturing to unlock access to goethite. And now that we have that online, we can do all of that stuff that we originally planned in the next episode. But we need to get a good look at all the expanded structural support options that we now have available in hotfix 0.2.5, I think is what we're up to. So yeah, we still accomplished quite a bit today, and lots more to explore in the new areas of the map that have been unlocked with the radiation pullback. So we're going to have to check out some of the new abandoned bases, see what kind of new interesting lore bits, what kind of new interesting blueprints for high-level manufacturing we can find out there. And I hear that there's an even harder challenge than Red Leaf Base waiting for us. So all of that and more in the future episodes, but that's going to be it for this one. So if you're still with us, thank you for watching, If you're enjoying this playthrough of StarRupture, hit like and subscribe. If you want to check out StarRupture for yourself, head on over to Steam and pick it up. And if you want to let me know what you think of the game so far, then hit the comments down below. But whatever you do, I'll see you right here again in the next one. So, until then, bye-bye.